portraying this character was me having to go back to certain places that I do not want to like revisit, and also me trying to not let those emotions destroy me as a person before like my character, and I had to portray those emotions as my character Cleo, and having to tap in and out and trying to ignore those past like traumas in real life. So yeah.
The sound experience was really amazing. I was able to put in more with what I wanted to do with the sound for the film, and really get into the emotions of the characters and what's being told in the film.
The attempt to effectively depict the experimental as well as the emotional intensity of the film realistically and within a certain budget as well.
The most challenging thing about playing such an intense character, I would say, would be obviously stepping out of myself and into the shoes of Malum, who is an abuser. You know, trying to assimilate those traits, you know, the low self-esteem coupled with the narcissism. It really was a challenge because it's such a meticulous task in the demands it has of me, you know, especially considering the fact that everything about me refuses and I guess detests everything about Malum.
These angles really allowed me to basically enhance and amplify the emotions of the protagonist's complex emotional experience. It allowed me to basically heighten these emotions because I used angles and camera movements and framing work to basically just take it to the next level and highlight these emotions.
What was challenging for me was to play the older character, to understand the vision, the emotional and physical readiness of that character.
In regards to each person's contribution towards the film, they were given the creative freedom to be able to interpret the vision of the story according to the script, and also being able to use their creativeness in order to capture the hearts and resonate with the audience.
I used a lot of pacing, editing techniques, and I also played with the different close-up and wide cuts, mainly to just differentiate between the different moods. With the pacing, I used a lot of fast pacing in the scenes where Cleo is fighting with Malum, just to show how the emotions were in that scene.
So the thing that inspired me to write this story, obviously being based on a true story, was my own car accident that I had experienced in 2022. You know, it was a near-fatal car accident and I was left with memory loss from that after a head injury. So I think I wanted to tell that story, to be able to share that trauma and finally openly speak about it in such a creative way and let everybody know that trauma, you know, with trauma, you know, as much as you can pull yourself out of the trauma, it can still affect you over time in the long run. Especially the fact that it is such a vulnerable story. I knew when directing it and when working with the actors and telling them my life and the people in my life that the characters are based on, I knew that I would have to give a piece of myself to the cast, to the actors, to the audience.